Hi and welcome to Crochet and Coffee. In today's video I'm going to show you how to make this kind of flower motif square. It's not very difficult to do, it's pretty straightforward, but we do have different stitches and different ways of doing things for each round, and we have a total of 6 rounds. In the video I'll show you how we start and how we work and how we finish each round. The only thing I really want to mention about this square before we get started is your color choices. You can of course make this square in any kind of material you like, but the design or the expression of the square will be a little different depending on how you choose your colors. So as I mentioned, we have 6 rounds, and for like this one I only did it in 2 colors, so I'm just alternating between the colors, which gives us this design. I can really see myself making more of these where I would switch out the red one for different kind of colors and then keeping the white one and then adding them together. I also made one where I used 5 different kinds of colors because I wanted the yellow one to kind of, be present at 2 rounds. I think I was kind of imagining like a flower with a purple center and pink petals, and then you have the yellow sun in the background and some green grass or leaves and then a blue sky. I think that was kind of my thoughts on this one. I think it looks very pretty as well. I also tried one where I used 3 different colors and I have 2 rounds in one color and then changing over 2 rounds, changing over 2 rounds. Gives a very cool expression as well. And again, I can see myself doing that in, let's say, pink shades or green or yellow or whatever, and then do 3 different shades of that same color, and putting those together as well. So it's really up to you, whatever you want to do with these. I think they all have their merits. In this video, I will be doing 6 different colors because I want to show how we do color changes between each round, and it also makes it easier for you to see what I'm doing. I will of course also give you some instructions on how to continue if you're making only one color, because you can do that as well. So let's jump right into it. So I'm going to start with this pink color. It's a mercerized cotton yarn, and I'm using a 4mm hook. And I'm going to start by chaining 5, and we're going to connect that to a ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can do the magic ring if you prefer that. I'm going to slip stitch into this first chain and connect so we have a ring we can work in. So for this first round we're going to do puff stitches. The first puff stitch will be a little different because we need to start by building the right height. So I'm going to start by chaining 2, 1 and 2, and I'm going to yarn over, go into the ring, grab the yarn, come up, and then I'm going to pull on my hook so that all the loops, both loops on the hook, has the same height as this first one. So now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to do that one more time. Yarn over into the ring, grab the yarn and come up and pull a little bit so we have the right height. So now I have 5 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through all 5 of them like that. I'm not going to pull on anything. I'm just going to chain 2. You can pull a little bit on the first one. So 1 and 2. And that gives us our first puff stitch. I'm going to do one more. So now we are at the right height, so we don't need to chain anything. So I'm just going to yarn over, go into the ring, grab the yarn, come up, pull a little bit to get the right height, yarn over into the ring, grab the yarn, come up to the right height, 5 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 5 loops. Again, not pulling, just chaining 1, pull a little bit if you want to, and chain 2. And this gives us these nice kind of thin puff stitches. The whole point of doing puff stitches on this round is because we need the stitch that is created up here with our first chain. This one up here, we're going to work in that later. So that is why we're doing puff stitches in the beginning. Let's do one more. Yarn over into the ring, pull up, yarn over into the ring, pull up, 5 loops on the hook, and yarn over. Go through all of them and chain 2. We're going to do a total of 8 in this ring. I'm going to do that, and I'll meet you over here and we can see how we finish off this round. So go ahead and make 5 more puff stitches. So I have my 8 puff stitches in here, and I'm going to end this round. I did my chain 2. I'm going to end this round in this stitch over here. So this is our second chain that we did in the beginning. I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to fasten off and bring in a new color, but if you want to continue in the same color, you're going to slip stitch in here and one more time to get into the chain space, because that is where we will start the next round. So for round number 2, I'm using this blue color, and I just attached it up here in a chain space. The good thing about this project is it's really easy to weave over your ends as you're working, so go ahead and do that. That leaves you fewer ends to weave in at the end. So I am definitely doing that. So I'm going to chain 1, and then we're going to work the, let's call it petals. So we're going to start by doing 1 single crochet. Then we're doing 3 double crochets in that same chain space. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going back into that same chain space and putting in 1 single crochet. And that is really how this round goes. So just going to move over to the next chain space. Just going to make sure I have all my yarn tails ready. So move over to the next chain space, put in 1 single crochet, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and 1 single crochet. And just move over to the next one and repeat all the way around until you have 8. I'll do that, and I'll meet you over here and show you how we end this round. So now I'm done with my 8 petals, and I just made my last single crochet down here. I was going over to this first single crochet that we created over here, and I am going to slip stitch. I'm going to fasten off and attach a new color, but if you're continuing with this color, you're going to slip stitch once into this first double crochet and then into the second double crochet, because we're going to start the next round in our second double crochet from this round. So now we're ready for round number 3. I just attached my yarn with a little knot up here, and I'm going to insert my hook. You can of course do this color change any way you like. So I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to put in 1 single crochet. I'm going to chain 2. And again, we're working in the second double crochet from the last round. I'm going into that same stitch and putting in a single crochet. So this gives us these little nice tops up here, and we're going to use those later. Then we're going to skip the rest of the petal, and then we're going down here. And when we did the puff stitch on the first round, it kind of created a little bit of a loop over here. So we're going to yarn over, go into that loop. You can also turn your work and see it on the back. And we're going to yarn over and come up and put in, so we have a double crochet. Like that. And we're going to chain 1. I'm actually going to chain 2. Like that. And then we're going into that same stitch one more time, adding a double crochet. And that gives us this nice visual look where it looks like they are connected. Let's do that one more time. We're going over to the next petal, and on the middle one, so the second one, we're putting in 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet, like that. And skipping the rest of the petal, going down here, finding that top stitch from the puff stitch down here, yarning over, going in. Again, it's a little bit easier if you follow it on the back as well. And make sure you don't get your hook mixed up with other yarn strands on the back, like that. And then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, yarn over, going back into that stitch again, wrapping the yarn, coming up, yarning over twice, and that gives us this nice V-stitch over here. And again, moving over to the next top double crochet from the last round, putting in 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 single crochet, like that. Let's do it one more time. Yarn over, you know you have it up here, just insert your hook and it will find its way. Come up, yarn over twice, double crochet, chain 2, into the same stitch, come up, yarn over, up, and you have your V-stitch. So just going to do that all the way around, and I'll show you over here how we end this round. So I'm done with this round. I put in the V-stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet that we did up here to end this round. If you want to continue with this color, you have to slip stitch all the way over here, because we're starting the next round in one of the V-stitches. I will fasten off and come back with a new color for round 4. So I have attached my next color. I actually didn't bring in a new color. I wanted to go back to the pink because I kind of want to see what that looks like if we bring that in now. We're going to work in the top of our V stitches, so those big chains. And we're going to, you can either start by chaining 3, or you can do a stack stitch. So I'm going to do a single crochet, going on the left front loop and putting in another single crochet. Or you can chain 3, that doesn't really matter. We just need the right height for a double crochet. We're going to put in a double crochet next to it. And then we're going to chain 2. And in that same stitch, we're going to add 2 more double crochets. 1 and 2. So it looks like that. And we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Move over to the next V-stitch over here, putting in 2 double crochets. Chain 2 and 2 double crochets. This is a very straightforward round. Again, chain 2, move over to the next V-stitch over here, and just work your way around, and I'll meet you over here and show you how we end this round. So I'm almost done. I'm just going to chain my last 2, and then we're back at the beginning. I'm going to find my top stitch that we did in the beginning, so it will be this one, or your chain, the third chain if you did a chain 3 in the beginning. Just going to slip stitch. I will fasten off and bring back my blue color. If you want to continue this color, you're actually just going to stay here, because we're going to start in this first double crochet on the next round. So I've attached my new yarn color in this first double crochet, and I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to add in 1 double crochet like that. Then we're going to skip the next top of the double crochet from the last round and move into the chain space up here, and in there we're going to put in 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet. And we're going to skip the next top of the double crochet and move over to the last one, and in there we're also going to put in a single crochet. So single crochet, skip, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the chain space, skip, and a single crochet. Then we're going to put in a double crochet, and we're going to put it into this top down here. So we're going to yarn over and go over this pink chain space. Find that we had a chain 2 space down here. Come up on the other side, grab the yarn, come up, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. So now it is wrapped around the pink one and attached to the purple one. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to do it one more time, so 1 more double crochet in there like that, and that gives us another one of these nice V stitches. Then we're going to move over, and in this first top stitch we're going to put in a single crochet, skip the next one, work in the chain space, 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 single crochet. Skip the next stitch and put in a single crochet. And then again, yarn over, find that chain 2 space down here in the purple one, come up and do the double crochet over the pink one. Chain 1, yarn over, down 1 more time, come up, yarn over twice, and you have your V stitch. And again, 1 single crochet in the next. And that you're just going to repeat all the way around, and I'll meet you over here and we can get started on the last round. So I just finished my last double crochet over here, and I'm going into my first single crochet that we did down here, and I'm going to slip stitch. So for the next round we're going to start in one of the V's over here, so you either have to slip stitch all the way over here or fasten off and attach your new yarn, or you can of course also attach the existing color if you want to continue with that. So let's get started on the final round. So I have attached my purple color back, and we're going to start, I'm just going to chain 1, and then we're going to start with a treble because now we are building the border. So I will do some stack stitches. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet going into that left front loop, and 1 more time. So that gives me the height of a treble. You can chain 4 if you prefer to do that. We're going to have 3, and then we're going to chain 3 and put in 3 more. But we're not going to start with 3. We're going to start with only 2, because then when we come back, we can add the last one and we can do a really nice finish that makes it easier if you're going to put your squares together. So 2 trebles, chain 3, back into the same stitch and add 3 trebles. Be a little tight, but there should be enough room in there. So 2, and the last one. 3. So this is almost a corner. We're missing 1 treble out here, but we'll do that when we come back. Then we're going to have a corner over here in this V-stitch. So we're going to have 3 top stitches between. So we're going to move into the first top stitch. So here's our chain 2, and in there we're going to put in 3 double crochets. Like that. I'm not going to chain anything between, because that will make it, for my tension, it will make it look a little weird, but maybe your tension is different and it would actually make sense to chain 1 between, but it doesn't for me. Then we have a V-stitch, and in there I'm also going to add 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're moving over to the next chain space, or a little chain 2 over here, and in there we're also going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're ready to start working on our next corner. So it's the V-stitch over here. We're going to do a treble. So yarn over twice before we're going into the chain space. Like that, and then 2 more. Two. And 3. And then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And 3 more trebles in that corner. Whoops. 3. And that gives us our corner, and again then just move over to the next chain 2 space over here and put in your 3 double crochets. Let me just do that and we'll have a look. So you can see we're now starting to build a nice border. So again, you're going to have 3 clusters between each corner. So 1, 2, 3 clusters, and then a corner down here. Same over here, which gives you a corner over here. I'll do mine all the way around, and I'll meet you over here and show you how we finish off. So I'm almost done. I did my last double crochet, and now I am going back into my first corner and putting in my last treble crochet. And then you can just slip stitch into the top of the first treble we made, or that would be the top of your chain 4. I am going to snip off my yarn, and I am going to pull it up like that. You can see we now have our top stitch here. I'm going to bring in my yarn needle, and I'm going to find, well, that would be the last treble that we did before we started our chain. And I'm going in under the V, like that. And I'm pulling gently, like that. And I'm going to form that stitch we had down here. I'm going to create that up here. So I'm going, so you can see we now have the first loop, and we're going to do a loop over here. So we're going in from the front, but only on the back loop. Pull on that yarn tail. And as you can see, we have now created a nice loop up here that looks like a stitch. So when you're going to add your squares together, it's a lot easier to work in. And you're just going to weave in your yarn tail. And you can of course also add a round of single crochets if you want to. As you can see, this one turned out quite differently than the others because of the way we did the color change. I actually kind of like it. I mean, it's still of course the same expression that we have, but it is a little bit different. I like it. I think it was kind of fun to make. It was fun to see how it turned out in 3 different colors. If you like these kind of squares, I have a couple other videos for you that I think you should check out. I'll leave that in the description. And other than that, have a great day.